week's edition. Welcome to this week's edition of World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. Another very full international briefing for you with marching orders. Number one marching order, emergency anti-war demonstration at Lafayette Park across from the Obama White House. That is Saturday, December 12th at 11 a.m. Stop the Obama-Pelosi-Reid escalation of the Afghan war. Under Obama-Pelosi-Reid, the U.S. has already sent 35,000 more troops into the Afghanistan graveyard of empires. Now Obama is debating another round of reinforcements, an Afghan surge expected to number about 40,000 more GIs. But there is a real reluctance by Obama, the opportunist, and the faction fight in the administration about whether to escalate. State Department forces say no. Pentagon forces say yes. Obama is getting plenty of advice from the war party, be it Holbrooke, Petraeus, McChrystal, Mullen. It is high time that Obama, Pelosi, and Reid heard a clear message from a resurgent anti-war movement demanding an end to escalation. No escalation. U.S. to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq as fast as possible, consistent with the safety of the forces, plus an immediate halt to the cowardly and illegal murders and assassinations by these despicable predator drone attacks, and stop all CIA destabilization operations in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. And those three areas make up, I would venture to guess right now, the majority of all CIA activity is in those places. You see how these people work. So December 12th, it's a Saturday. It fills the bill. It's a time when working people, students, normal people can show up at a demonstration. So 11 a.m., Lafayette Park, across from the White House. You can get the Farragut West or the Farragut North Metro. This has been essentially been called by an ad hoc coalition of anti-war groups, the courageous ones, the ones that are not observing the Obama moratorium, the free ride for Barkey. And some groups are focused on demonstrations in March. Well, that's fine. You should see this as a feeder event, a way to build those March demonstrations. But what you cannot do is to simply live from anniversary to anniversary, from the Afghanistan anniversary in October to the Iraq anniversary in March, and then maybe 9/11, and then October again, and you've got your whole year planned out 10 years in advance. That is not effective politics. You've got to respond to real events. Now, Obama is still dithering. Man, is he dithering. Obama is now at least leaking out of the White House that he will not decide the escalation until after Thanksgiving. So that's essentially a week from today. That's the 26th, 27th of November. So it looks like the escalation decision, the most probably decision on how much escalation, but maybe not, that is until the end of December, not November, not to be expected. Or maybe Obama will use his appearance to light the White House Christmas tree to announce that he's sending 40,000 more GIs. He's waiting for Advent and the coming of the Prince of Peace to show that he is the Nobel Prize winner for war and butchery and futile military operations. Now, this entire problem with Afghanistan, of course, is focused on the Afghan, Pakistan, and Iran theater. In Afghanistan, we've just had the re-inauguration of Karzai in an atmosphere where it seems like the U.S. State Department Holbrooke faction, which had been considering kicking him out, is now going to reconcile with Karzai. Of course, watch out, Karzai. That could be the prelude to the President Diem treatment, where you're found in the trunk of a car when factions in the State Department want to get rid of you. Notice also this idiotic issue of corruption. What does corruption mean? How are you going to wipe out corruption in a place like Afghanistan? Boy, if there was ever a utopian agenda, impossible, lunatic demand, the way you could eventually diminish the corruption in such a place is to give them massive economic development, a massive national program with hydroelectric infrastructure, real roads, real railroads, real pipelines going through there, real economic development so that you could push the poppy opium narcotics economy to the sidelines. But short of that, it's a corrupt society. So what they're really saying is, Karzai, you're not allowed to do the obvious thing, which is to make deals with the various factions in Afghanistan society, which are all corrupt, and they're corrupt all around the world, but in this case, obviously corrupt. What they're saying is we want to keep a destabilized Afghanistan government. They don't want Karzai to stabilize himself, because the day when Karzai can say, all right, I've got a peace accord, I've brought the Taliban and the Northern Alliance and the Tajiks and the Pashtuns and the Baluchis and everybody else on board, that's when the U.S. has to leave. And the point is to stay. And to stay for what? For the global war on terror? It's a bad joke. Look at the map. From Iran to China, what's in between? The Pakistani energy corridor. You could have a pipeline from the Iranian oil fields up Pakistan, going into China, above Kashmir, and through the Himalayas. This would solve the number one strategic issue faced by China. Of course, China knows it. The other thing you could do is you could have a nice tanker terminal at Gwadar with a pipeline. It would basically reach into the same pipeline, so you could get oil coming from the Emirates, from Saudi Arabia, from Iraq. In this case, maybe the pipeline wouldn't be the best solution, but maybe a tanker terminal, pretty much like what the U.S. does with oil from Alaska. So the presence in Afghanistan is to block that. It's also to block the possibility of an Indo-European railroad line from Paris to New Delhi. That would have to go through Afghanistan and the Khyber Pass. So the whole point is the U.S. wants to stay in the region in order to block economic development and to sabotage the otherwise natural tendency of these countries to find a common ground. We've also got, and I had a chance to talk about this on Russia Today this week, these recent bombings in Peshawar, not quite a month ago, 3 weeks ago, the big bomb in the women's and children's market in Peshawar, Pakistan, where the Taliban have said that they didn't do this. This was done by the U.S. and the CIA, they say, and Blackwater did it. This Z Services, as they call themselves now. They want to be a moving target. And that's simply the same idea. The purpose of the U.S. policy is to foment all-out massive civil war in Pakistan for the purpose of breaking up the country, right? Sindh, Punjab, Pashtunistan, Baluchistan, Waziristan, federal tribal areas, on and on. So all of that is built in. By the way, the awareness of the U.S. role in Pakistan is so great that we have a Reuters wire from November 17th, Pakistan's Conspiracy Theories by Myra McDonald. And essentially what this says is Pakistan is a nation of 160 million conspiracy theorists because somehow they think that the U.S. and the British are waging a terrorist war against them using secret armies and proxies, and that these bombs that are going off all the time in Islamabad and Peshawar and other cities, that this is now the work of the U.S. and the British, CIA, MI6. Well, guess what? The 160 million Pakistani conspiracy theorists are right, and Reuters is not on the proper line here. So we'll talk about this more in just a second.